Donald Trump just responded to the rising oil prices, and he suggests any American concerned about it is a fool. Now, if you missed it tonight, oil prices have risen above $100 a barrel. They're currently sitting at $106, but were as high as $110. And Donald Trump immediately responded, taking to Truth Social to say, quote, short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. Only fools would think differently, unquote. Yeah, if you're concerned, if you're worried about the price of oil, which means higher prices at the gas pumps, if you're an American already struggling with the affordability crisis, if you're worried about that, you're a fool. That's the message the president of the United States has for you. But the thing is that rising oil prices and the higher price at the pump is not the only price we're paying. We are now up to 7 service members that have been lost in this war, and we will lose more. We are likely, according to Trump, going to lose people at home. This is a war that is wildly unpopular, and people are not fools for being concerned.
If we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Markets really react badly when you have a really stressful type of a situation, especially when you have an oil-rich area, as the Middle East happens to be. The Strait of Hormuz, for example, transporting, I should say, back and forth about 20% of the world's oil supply on a daily basis in tankers. And when you have such a volatile situation creating an impact on the oil infrastructure itself, potentially, that's where you start running into that moment of nervous jitters that causes the markets to react.
This is, of course, damaging our economies. This is true for the oil prices, and this is true for the gas prices as well. So that's the reason why we all hope that this war will come to an end as soon as possible.
The one thing that President Trump has consistently pointed to that he says proves that his economy is the best in American history is gas prices. But now we are seeing those gas prices soar because of this war with Iran, and Trump has completely changed his tune. When asked about these rising prices, Trump told Reuters, "I don't have any concern about it." And then he went on to say, they'll drop very rapidly when this is over, and if they rise, they rise. But this is far more important than having gasoline prices go up a little bit. Now, the problem is Trump keeps giving us a different timeline for when this thing with Iran is going to be over and those gas prices will rapidly go back down. Initially, he said this war with Iran would be over in a few days. Then he said a few weeks. Then he said 4 to 6 weeks. Then he said a month. And now, just recently, he said we'll be there as long as it takes. In fact, today, the president said this won't be over until there's unconditional surrender from Iran. Look, that could take a very long time. And in the meantime, Iran has effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which transports about 20% of the global oil supply. How? Because Iran has said that any tanker that bears the flag of the United States or Israel or Europe will be targeted by missile strikes. So to get the energy flowing again, President Trump has offered U.S. military escorts through the strait for those oil tankers, though those haven't started just yet. And besides that, a lot of the global oil supply comes from the Middle East, which, of course, all those countries have basically been dragged into this war too. So what's that doing? This is what it's doing. This is a chart that tracks the oil prices per barrel in the United States. This is the price per barrel right before the strikes began. This is how they jumped right after the strikes began. And this is the price per barrel today. It's been hovering around $90, $91. That is a 37% increase in the price for a barrel of oil in just a week. And that's translating to the price you pay at the gas pump. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular today is $3.32. That is 34 cents higher than it was last week and 7 cents higher than just yesterday. So if you want to see all these charts for yourself, I'm going to email them out to you tonight, my Fax HQ email, which of course is free. So make sure you sign yourself up.
We have major updates regarding the war in Iran. The war is expanding rapidly. According to reports, Hezbollah has joined into the war. And there are now preliminary reports from Cyprus Mail that a British base in Cyprus was struck by a drone. At the same time, get ready to pay for more at the pump. Reuters is now reporting that for the first time in months, the average U.S. gas price at the pump will be over $3 a gallon of gas as the price of oil has surged as a result of this war. In addition, the U.S. stock market futures are much lower. The Dow fell over 500 points as a result of the conflict. Donald Trump has not taken any questions from reporters tonight in a very major break from prior kind of ways he's acted. He didn't take any questions on Air Force One. He didn't take any questions when he got off Air Force One. The American public remains in the dark. Spread the word. Follow for more. We have major updates regarding the war in Iran. The war.
MAGA, I don't know if you can read that sign behind me, but it says gas is $3.55. $3.55. What happened, guys? I thought it was supposed to be $1.99. Should we start putting the I did that stickers on the gas pumps for Donald Trump? Because you guys sure did that with Joe Biden. Guess what? Gas, crude oil, it's now over $108 a barrel. It could keep going. We're going to be looking at $4, $5 gas. Is this what you guys voted for? I mean, what did you guys get out of this election? I'm curious. I'm really curious because you got some of the brown people out. Was that like the only thing you got? And for straws? That's all I can remember because now gas is up. There are no e-files out. We're out war. It's on America first. What did you win? Are you sick of winning? Are we great yet? Because I'm seeing gas go up and up and up. And just, I thought the president didn't control gas. Yeah, when he invades a foreign country, he does have an impact. And guess what? Democrats, we don't really care about the price of gas, but it means so much to you. So I want to hear, what does this mean to you now? We're at war in a foreign country, possibly going to have a draft, and gas is approaching $4 a gallon. Are we great yet?
Breaking news, oil has just gone over $119 a barrel. This, I believe, is the Brent oil futures that is now at 119 something. It's hovering around that area. If you go look, it might be anywhere between 117 to maybe it'll get up to 120 by the time I'm done recording this video, but it is not looking like it's planning on stopping anytime soon. Many people might not know this, but I used to be a futures trader. So I do know something about trading and I can see quite a bit of, activity on the oil futures. Now it could just stay here, but if it goes over 20, that's a big sign that, it's going to keep going. We'll see. It was just, 114 something earlier. So you can see how quickly it's going up. And keep in mind, this is something that has been well below, I believe, like this in the 60s for most of the year.
As gas prices rise, California is feeling pain at the pump more than any other state in this country. CBS's Andres Gutierrez in Los Angeles explains why. Andres, good evening.
Good evening, Eureka. Just take a look at the prices on this sign. Everything is above $5, just showing a painful reminder of how fast this is all moving. Drivers I spoke with tell me that they are paying more, getting less, and feel like there is no relief in sight. While the rest of the country is paying around $3.45 for a gallon of gas, AAA says in California it's more than $5, a jump of more than 50 cents in just a week.
I'm paying $40, but that doesn't get me a full tank anymore.
Before the war with Iran, California was already in a tough spot.
A unique market that is essentially cut off from the rest of the country.
The state has the highest gas tax in the country, almost 70 cents a gallon. It also requires a cleaner, more expensive fuel blend. What did you think about the prices when you first pulled up?
Well, the prices are nuts.
With the permanent shutdown of two major California refineries due to high operating costs and other factors, overall capacity will be reduced about 18%. If this conflict continues, how high could gas prices go?
Well, it's very difficult to see what the top may look like. We could ultimately see prices reaching new records if the Strait of Hormuz continues to be blocked.
Some drivers are already changing their habits.
It's part of the reason why I have my bike here is because it's cheaper.
Now, for drivers wondering how much higher prices will get, well, the record here in Los Angeles was set back in 2022, just as Russia's war in Ukraine was getting underway. Back then, drivers were paying almost $6.50 a gallon. Jerika?
That's a lot of money. Andres Gutierrez, thank you.
The war in Iran is impacting how much drivers are paying at the pump. Between Thursday and Friday, the price per gallon went up by 10 cents here in San Diego. And since last week, it's gone up by 26 cents. Also on Friday, a barrel of crude oil was around $93. That's $20 more than it was just last week. So why are you having to pay more? Hisham Foad, who is a professor of economics at San Diego State University, says one reason that we're seeing this disruption in oil distribution is because many countries across the Middle East are shutting down their productions.
If you look at the Persian Gulf, there's an area that's called the Straits of Hormuz, which is kind of a little bottleneck that for ships to get out of the Persian Gulf and into the Indian Ocean, they have to pass through this area. Now, this has not been completely shut down, but it's become a lot riskier for ships to traverse it. And so we're seeing less oil flowing out of the Persian Gulf.
Foad also said it's not so much the concern of where this is all going to end up, but the fact that these gas prices are going to continue to increase.
I think this is something that you're going to feel not just at the pump, but in other areas as well, because of course, oil prices affect the price of other goods too. They need to be shipped from location to location. So that's going to increase the prices of those.
Everything is about to get more expensive because diesel is going through the roof. Let's get into it. Since the fighting began a week ago in Iran, gas prices are up 47 cents to an average of $3.45 a gallon. That's a rise of 16%. But that's not what's important here. The real kicker is that since the same time period, diesel has risen 84 cents or 22%, raising the price to a gallon of diesel to $4.60. The reason for this, according to one expert, is diesel was already in short supply. Same expert predicts that diesel could hit $5 a gallon this month. This means higher heating oil costs, but the real risk to consumers are the higher cost to transport the goods they buy every day. Farmers depend on diesel to power their tractors and combines, as well as deliver the fertilizer they need to grow crops and to get their product to market. Commodity prices for corn, wheat, and soybeans have already started to climb, although not nearly at the pace of fuel prices. So when Trump was campaigning for his second term, he was hammering no new wars, cheaper energy prices, cheap gas prices. And now look at us. We've gotten ourselves into what could be another forever war. And the cost of everything is about to go up because of this war, directly because of this war. It's unfucking believable.
Gasoline prices up 14% in the past week, according to AAA. Reports the national average is $3.45. We've seen oil prices spike. How high do you think oil and gas are going to go?
They shouldn't go much higher than they are here because the world is very well supplied with oil. There's no energy shortage at all in the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
The United States is a net exporter of oil, a large net exporter of natural gas, but refineries in Asia and Europe are seeing an interruption from the normal crude flows. But there is massive energy stores around the world. What you're seeing is emotional reactions and fear that this is a long-term war. This is not a long-term war.
As Trump deploys more U.S. teenagers into the Middle East for war with Iran, and as gas prices soar through the roof, this is Trump today playing golf at his resort with his billionaire friends. He doesn't care about you, your wallet, or our troops. He only cares about himself.
The pain at the pump continues tonight due to what is happening in the Middle East. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas is $3.14, jumping 43 cents in just the last week. That is the highest since August 2024 and the largest weekly spike since 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. Here in Minnesota, the cost of gas jumped another 5 cents overnight and then now sits at an average of $3.23 a gallon.
Major news as gas prices are expected to hit $4 a gallon on average here by the end of this coming week. Guys, this is a massive, massive increase in the price of gas per gallon, and it could go even higher. It's going to go to $5 a gallon on average in California this week, and some places are already seeing that. And some places throughout the country are already seeing $4 a gallon for unleaded gasoline. So guys, this war in Iran is going to force gas prices to skyrocket, and it's going to put a major hamper on this economy unless this war ends soon. And even when it does, it is going to take time to get oil flowing and bring prices down. So expect prolonged increases in fuel for the coming weeks and months. They're expecting this war to possibly go on for 100 days, maybe even more. So guys, this is going to be crushing to the economies around the globe. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I will see you back here for the 411.
This morning, growing concerns about the U.S. economy, with oil prices surging and the war in Iran crippling exports.
Oil prices have jumped their most amount in a week since 1983.
Crude prices soaring 35% this week alone, the biggest gain ever in futures trading history for the commodity.
It's crazy. It's not needed, especially at a time when people are already struggling.
The impact already showing up at the pump. The national average for a gallon of gas, around $3.40 a gallon, jumping 40 cents in just 1 week. It's this narrow waterway, the Strait of Hormuz off Iran's southern coast, turning the oil market upside down. 1/5 of the entire world's oil supply flows through here. Pressure building elsewhere in the U.S. economy, too, after a weaker than expected jobs report shows the U.S. lost 92,000 jobs in February. Losses hitting healthcare hard, where nurse strikes weighed on hiring. Government and information sectors also impacted. Unemployment ticking up to 4.4%.
Right now, workers are dealing with is an insecurity in their jobs at the same time that the effects of inflation over the course of 5 years have compounded.
Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve meets in 2 weeks and faces the critical decision on whether or not to cut interest rates, with the backdrop of weaker hiring and unstable oil prices renewing fears of inflation.
And it's been a roller coaster on Wall Street, the Dow suffering its worst week in nearly a year, Janae.
Gas prices are rising again. Reuters reports U.S. gasoline and diesel prices jumped after the war with Iran disrupted a big share of global oil and gas supply. That means this conflict is already hitting people at the pump. If oil keeps climbing, higher prices spread fast through shipping, groceries, and everyday bills. Is this the cost of Trump's war? Comment yes or no and follow for more.
Barely an hour after the markets opened, oil has gone up $21 a barrel. That's 65% increase per barrel since the war against Iran started, and more than double since December of 2025. Now, you might be asking, why is that important? Well, a bunch of different reasons. It connects to everything in the economy: air travel, agriculture, because fertilizer is ultimately made from petroleum products. You're talking about shipping. You're talking about inflation. And on top of that, guess who just timed perfectly a drone and missile attack against the UAE at their one remaining port? That's right, Iran. Their timing, unfortunately, is impeccable. As you can see here, this is a notice from the United Arab Emirates government that the same terminal, the only export terminal for oil in that country, still open, which has been a hit twice before, was just nailed with a complex drone and ballistic missile attack. They know what they're doing. They're causing chaos, and it's going to continue, because no matter what they say about the bombing campaign, the fact is they keep firing, even from bases underground in the granite where they have holes that ballistic missiles can shoot out of that have been hit repeatedly. It's clear that at least some of these missile bases are going to just stay in operation unless ground troops are put in. So not good news. This economically is very bad. And remember, we just lost 90,000 jobs in February. The economy is fragile. Everything's a house of cards with Donald Trump. We'll see what comes next.
Gas prices are increasing. Take a look at gas prices before February 28, 2026, and gas prices after February 28, 2026. That's when Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel started this war in Iran, right? Now, with the Strait of Hormuz at a chokehold, that means nothing could pass through that strait in the Persian Gulf. That's the waterway that the ships travel with oil out of the Persian Gulf, right? So that waterway now is closed off, disrupted by the decisions made by Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and Donald Trump of the United States. What that means is every single person in this world who depended on oil from the Middle East, right, will be affected and are currently right now paying more for almost everything that has anything to do with gas and oil. Okay? So what it means is your life will be harder because you're still getting the same pay. You're at the same pay rate at your job, but you have to take more out for gas because of Donald Trump's and Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to destabilize the Middle East. It's simple as that. But it's been kept hush hush. A lot of people aren't talking about it. Maybe they're shamefaced or, TikTok is pushing down a lot of videos that has anything to do with the truth these days. Right? So there you go with gas and oil. So I guess Cuba won't be the only country that will be suffering for a shortage of oil and gas. A lot of other countries out there will be suffering soon. As you know, Cuba is in darkness. Okay, complete darkness. They don't have no oil, but more countries will follow suit because as far as I can see, this war has no end in sight. I mean, it is intense. Currently, right now, today, I'm talking about March 8, 2026. Intense. It's intense. You know what I'm saying? But these are the leaders that you chose. Well, some of you, even though people warned you not to do so. Your life is now completely more difficult because of their decisions. And also, your life is in danger. I don't care where in this world you are. Your life is now in more danger than it was before. Yes, it is. I'm pretty sure Vice President Kamala Harris would not have done this bullshit that's going on. I'm sure about it. I'm sure. Okay? Stay safe. Peace.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.